Good afternoon and welcome to today's Software AG webcast titled A Digital Platform for Government Transformation. Today's webcast will be presented by Alex Burggraf, Principal Systems Engineer at Software AG. As we move through today's presentation, I invite you to submit any questions that you may have via the Q&A box, which is located in the lower right corner of your WebEx session. We will do our best to answer all of your questions. In the event that we are not able to answer your question, your submission will be recorded, and today's presenter will be back in touch with you as soon as possible. Additionally, today's presentation is being recorded. This recording will be available to you via YouTube should you wish to access it later on. To receive a copy of the YouTube link, please send an email to the webcast host. Before I turn today's presentation over to Alex, I would like to briefly introduce you to Software AG. Software AG offers the first end-to-end digital business platform based on open standards with integration, process management, adaptive application development, real-time analytics, and IT portfolio management as core building blocks to help customers build their digital futures today. With over 45 years of customer-centric innovation, Software AG is ranked as a leader in many innovative and digital technology categories. Software AG has more than 4,300 employees and is active in 70 countries. It is now my pleasure to welcome Alex Burggraf.
Yeah, thanks, Will. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on what part of the country you are in. I'm speaking to you from San Francisco, California, where it's still 11 o'clock. We'll give you a little intro about our digital business platform. I'm going to talk about that today with a little spin specifically for state and local government IT. So our digital business platform is essentially industry agnostic, but we made this little presentation to show some use cases and things that you think you can benefit from our platform, specifically if you're in government IT. If you joined this WebEx and you're not in government, then please stay on. I'm sure there will be some valuable information for you as well. I will start with giving a little overview, a little bit more details than what Will just told you about our digital business platform. Then we talk about government IT landscape today. Then the next topic will be what's around the corner tomorrow, a list of things that are most likely not new to you, that you will have on a list of things to do anyways, but maybe or probably are not sure how, when, and who will pay for it. And then last but not least, and the core point of this presentation is that we want to show you how you can prepare your IT for the future utilizing our digital business platform. Let's jump right into an overview here. So our digital business platform essentially is a suite of software tools allowing you to get the right data to the right places at the right time. Nowadays, that almost always is real time, so the right time is real time. And that's one of the biggest challenges in any IT landscape, especially if it's, historically grown, this real-time aspect. So I will talk about these 5 components or building blocks of our platform in just a second. But what our platform is doing is it empowers you to enable existing applications or ones that you are writing new to be part of the digital future, of this digital evolution that is going on in the IT industry right now. And with that foundation, you should then be enabled to better serve your citizens or businesses that use government services also allow you better to interact and exchange data with other government or federal agencies, and last but not least, also utilize, new trends like Internet of Things, smart meters, smart parking meters, smart buildings, that kind of things. So our digital business platform, I'm not going to talk about products and product names here, but we're going to mention some, brand names here. So our platform essentially consists of these 5 building blocks. The main thing to know right ahead here is that you do not need to get the whole suite at once. Actually, most of the customers start with 1 or 2 pieces, and then, if they need it, add some other things, and, some of them stay with just 2 or 3 pieces anyways. So let's talk about the components a little bit here. So here alongside on the left-hand side is this block that is called Business and IT Transformation. These are essentially collaborative design tools that allow you to capture your status quo of IT portfolio management. On the one hand, that's the Alphabet product line that we have, or business processes on the other hand. That's our Aries product line. But these 2 products, in their specific areas, allow you to capture what you have and then plan where you want to be next year in 3 years, and kind of chart out what's the best way to go from where you're at now to the future state. Then the other things here on the right-hand side that are sort of like a stack, they are kind of built on each other. So if we start from the bottom here, we have Terracotta, which is our in-memory database that is internally used by everything above, essentially, and can be used for your user application, essentially allowing you put huge amounts of data in memory on, one machine or on arrays of servers, and allowing the application low latency data access in memory, right? And not be dependent on accessing databases that needs to access data from slow disks. The integration piece, and you see all the components on top now have the Web Methods brand name. The integration piece is the core piece, the backbone of our digital business platform here. And later on, the use case that I'm talking about will mainly be about this integration piece. This integration component essentially enables the process engine running on top of that, orchestrating, managing processes running on the integration platform. And last but not least, our analytics and decisions tools, both in the Web Methods and Apama brand names, allow to emit events, also things that your application that are essentially real-time enabled via our integration platform, fire events from these applications to be used in other new applications, and real-time analytics, correlating all these events and make new sense and business rules out of that. All these pieces are available for you to run on premises. essentially on Windows, Unix, and Linux platforms or in the cloud. And then there's also the option to run a hybrid approach where you will have applications that you want to integrate on premises, and you already have outsourced stuff to SaaS or PaaS clouds and need to integrate them with on-premises, and then we offer a hybrid approach of our platform. Now let's take a look how a typical government IT landscape, or probably also most of other industries' ITs look nowadays. So I hope everybody appreciated that fairy tale transition here. So in an ideal world, right, we would have one set of applications dealing and managing one set of data, and all of that would be used by, one group of users. But we know that this is usually not the case. So you may have all of that, if you have developed smartly all of that, one set of application, one set of data, one group of users in your core application. But usually around that, historically grown, you have legacy systems, you have customs applications that maybe were built to patch things that were not working in your core application, were only planned to be there temporarily, but are now there for many, many years, and are an essential part of your IT landscape. Then departmental solutions, these are Microsoft Access, Microsoft Excel, quote-unquote applications that departments use for, analytics applications and business intelligence things that need to be fed with data from all these other systems. And then, last but not least, packaged applications, COTS applications. You were trying to go away from your legacy system since many years. You were buying COTS applications for certain aspects of these legacy applications. You still have these legacy applications. You now also have these packaged applications. So long story short, that all these applications need to exchange data, need to pass along. If updates occur here, they also need to be populated into other systems, and you end up with this spaghetti integration mess here. Point-to-point integration, largely file-based, most of the times batch-oriented. There's a time delay getting data from application A to application B, and everything is certainly not real-time. For the packaged application, you may also have made purchases, and outsourced this COTS application into the cloud, which now seemingly gets rid of some of these red lines. But, very soon it will turn out that you still need to integrate these outsourced cloud applications with the stuff that is running on premises, and still will for quite a few years. So last but not least, you also have to exchange data with fellow government agencies or the feds, and with your citizens, right? That bidirectional data exchange. They send you data, and citizens submit forms, and they demand data on a regular basis. And all of that also needs to be tied in this application landscape that you have here. So the challenges that you have on top of that as a government agency specifically is that you ask to reduce this complexity, at the same time reduce costs, and again at the same time to increase innovation. And all of that with a budget, essentially with 20% budget, because the other 80% you have to spend to maintain this red spaghetti integration that was on the previous slide. So there's not a lot of wiggle room here. And if we take a look at tomorrow, then it's not getting a lot better. You know, on top of what you have, you need to keep pace with, you know, technology demands to not fall behind. So, for example, it would be great to know what your citizens are posting on all kinds of social media channels related to your community, your city, your county, your state. So to have kind of a feed and see what's going on here, and ideally then trigger some changes depending on what's going on social media. Or big data. You have this massive amount of data and you're gathering more and more every day, and you know there's some added value behind this data if you would just know how to correlate the right data sources and use the right analytics tool to find that out. And last but not least, you know, all your citizens have at least one mobile device, and they expect from their government similar service as from all the other apps that everybody is using constantly. So you have to have an answer for that. Two, sensors. Yeah, what is that? That's essentially the Internet of Things trend that is also, I think, becoming more and more a topic in government, right? If you think about smart parking meters or smart buildings, you know, where you get sensor data from smoke detectors, air quality, that kind of stuff, and regulate things, or sensors in roads to regulate traffic, stuff like that. So all these, you know, new channels and technology demands, they just add some new complexity to what you already have here. And you might have already big data or business intelligence systems, but still, this data needs to be fed, and most IT organizations do that, you know, point-to-point, in batch, file-based nowadays. So there has to be a better way to do that, and that's essentially what Software AG offers with our digital business platform here. So let's take a look again at the slide that I had before. Just come from the top and from the demands that you have. Yeah, and what the platform allows you to do, I want to emphasize that here. So it's not that we tell you, use our platform, throw everything out that you have. We're not saying that. The digital business platform is essentially an evolution. We empower your existing applications, if you want that, to be part of that. We essentially digital enable, service enable stuff that you already have. And it also gives you a great platform, certainly, to build new applications. But we are not asking you to throw everything out that you have. What we essentially want to do is we want to get rid, we want you to get rid of this point-to-point integration mess here, right? We want to get rid of these red lines. We want to take your existing applications and enable them to connect to our ESB here. And we have adapters that allow you to do that ideally non-invasive for the application or with just a little bit of development in that application. As soon as you have your applications and data and partner endpoints service enabled, what that allows you is essentially that everything that flows across that bus, you know, every data, every call that is made from application A to application B, you can treat as an event. And these events you can capture, and that is where our in-memory database comes into place. You can capture all these events and you can correlate things that are going on in real time in your application landscape. And from this correlated events, you can define new rules and regulate running processes and certain things that need to be done in your environment. And essentially, these are the 4 layers here that also translate to bits and pieces of our platform here. And this essentially allows you to build some new business logic on the bus, utilizing existing data and messages and data transfers that you already have. So essentially empowering you to build an application tomorrow that you didn't even think about that you could do yesterday. Yeah, another very important aspect is that within all these applications, you know, on this big spaghetti math picture before, you had to deal with all these very important aspects, certainly integration, right? We covered that, but also security, performance of the application, handling standards, right? Handling web services, SOAP web services, REST web services, microservice web services. You had to deal with all of these aspects on an application-to-application basis. If you put all your applications on the bus like that, then you can essentially defer or outsource all these responsibilities up here onto the platform, and everything can be handled here on a single spot in a central location. And last but not least, you can wrap an access layer around the whole platform and essentially expose your whole IT landscape as APIs, if you want, right? You don't have to. You still control what you want to expose to the outside world and whatnot. So the security aspect is certainly the most important one here when it comes to APIs. But that then allows you very easily to have APIs for web, for emails, for form submissions, for file transfer if you still need that, but that then allows you to open up to new technologies that are out there, all kinds of mobile platforms, Internet of Things. You can very easily plug it in because you have all the necessary legwork done by putting everything into this platform here. And again, this doesn't have to be everything needs to be done at the same time approach, right? You can do a phased approach and start with a few applications, putting them on the bus. The best outcome you certainly have if everything that needs to be integrated here is running on the same platform. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, all of that can run on premises, Windows, Unix, or Linux environments, or it can run on the cloud, in the cloud. Amazon Web Services, all kinds of other cloud providers, we support all of these. Or you can have a hybrid approach, stuff that's still running on premises and combining that, integrating that with SaaS applications that you and your employees or your customers are running in the cloud. And from a cost perspective, and we have to confirm by customers that we're implementing our platform, is that if everything is, centrally managed and maintained here in the same platform, and specifically because you have to deal with all these aspects here, security, integration, performance, in a central location and not on an application to application perspective, people are saving money. So it's a lot cheaper in the long run to maintain this platform than it is to maintain the point-to-point integration scenarios. So you have, you don't have only this 20% left over in your budget. You have, up to 50% for new innovation. So it certainly costs something to implement our digital business platform, but there is an immediate ROI, and we see that confirmed every time that customers are rolling that out. So let's now talk about some specific use case, or it's essentially one big use case from in the law enforcement area. So let's assume that a police officer or sheriff's deputy or a state trooper, is stopping a car for, something small, tail lights out, no signal or whatever, and checking the license. And wouldn't it be great if there could be a real-time license search, not only, if the driver's license is valid and if the registration is valid, but also check on the individual other status, like does this person have any outstanding warrants, or is he, carrying a weapon? That might be important for a police officer, right? Or checking, federal terrorist registry, all kinds of other things. Child support, for example, right? This is a father who is not paying his child support. So let's look into things that are involved here, what would need to be done. So we have this, we call it here the mobile officer application, right? That's something that's either a computer installed in a police car, or depending, on state or local government you are in, the police officers might run around with mobile devices. So what we want to check here is, I just picked 4 specific cases here, right? For example, you want to check the DMV, and you only have the driver's license, but you also, in order to check all these other agencies, databases, or services, you want to find out the social security number, and the DMV might have a service that would tell me, with a real-time call, what this individual's social security number is from the driver's license. And with that license, I then can check, law enforcement agencies for outstanding warrants. I could check the Homeland Security if the individual is on a terrorist list. And last but not least, I could check social service agencies if the last child support payment came in or not, or if this person is even paying child support at all. So in today's environment, you would implement that point to point, right? And nothing could be reused here, and there would be a lot of work here in this mobile application, depending on what the interface in here even is, or if there is even a real-time interface into this specific department or services that they offer or not. What we want you to do and what we empower you with our digital business platform is to build this whole integration service-oriented. So we connect the services that these departments or agencies offer to the bus, and the mobile office application then only has to call one service on the bus and gets all this information that it wants here from the respective agencies. I will talk in a second how exactly this could be done. And what this architecture gives you essentially is that it's not point to point. It's loosely coupled, which is very powerful. So in many aspects, so you don't need to know what the DMV's application is written on. You call a service on the bus. And this makes future development very agile and flexible, mainly because everything that you build here on the backend side here, all the services are reusable, which essentially means if you're onboarding a new application here, let's say a mobile social worker that runs around with an iPad or an Android pad, right? This application could potentially reuse services that are already out there, like the social services call. And it would be very easy to just, make that call to the bus and then trigger the right services here in the backend. Now let's go a little bit more into detail. So let's also take a look what the interfaces would be. So let's say the DMV exposes this driver license, find social security number as a RESTful web services. The police officer, law enforcement kind of in its own agency, outstanding warrants are in a SQL table that can be accessed by a social security number. The Homeland Security is offering a secured SOAP web service to check also with social security number if an individual is on a terror list. And the social services application, paying child support, let's assume that's an SAP application for payment. So what the digital business platform, or what we are talking about here, is the integration piece of it. What that allows you is, if there are specific technology or application adapters, we have them. We offer at the moment 70 plus adapters for technology and packaged application. I will have a slide afterwards that shows some of them. If the interfaces, web service interfaces, be it REST or SOAP, then the integration platform can certainly call this natively. So what you essentially do is you build services on the bus, basically implementing that interface that the specific agencies you offer. And then on top of that, and that's the most important piece, you build your orchestration of the services. You do the important transformation and mapping, in the formats and in certain data fields that you need out here in the mobile officer's application. But these atomic services that are still here, they are still reusable for other applications with a different set of orchestration or transformation and mapping, right? And last but not least, this orchestrated 4 services here that do, all the heavy lifting in the back end and the transformation mapping can then be exposed to this mobile office application, either also as a web service call or depending on the platform and language that this application is implemented in as Java or .NET language call. Here is a little overview of some of the adapters that we have either in a technology area like JDBC, Java, there's a .NET interface to other messaging systems. Then all kinds of packaged application. I mentioned SAP, but we also support Siebel, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, Ariba, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, if you're running applications in the cloud, be it, something on Amazon Web Services or NetSuite, HR applications, stuff like that. Salesforce.com, I know government agencies are using Salesforce more and more, or ServiceNow, StrikeIron. Just a bit, we adding more and more SaaS adapters every month or so, really. So we have it covered. Most likely everything that you're running, we have an adapter for it. And the great thing about adapters is that they all come with a wizard, and there's little to no coding to set up a connectivity to your applications with these adapters. And, depending on the applications, most of these adapters also have what we call adapter notification, which means that something changes in your SAP system, then you can define an adapter that then triggers an event on the bus as soon as this update occurs without needing to do any invasive coding in your packaged application. Yeah, also very important, no mainframe left behind. So a lot of government agencies and specifically the states are running mainframes. We know that because I think 38 of the 50 states and a lot of federal agencies are using our mainframe products. So we know there's still a lot out there and still a lot of core applications running on the mainframe. So we also integrate very well with all kinds of mainframe applications, and not only our stuff, which is AWS and Natural, we also integrate very nicely with COBOL, DB2, IMS. Not everything is on here. It's not mainframe, but mid-range stuff, AS400. We have a great AS400 adapter. So everything that I said before in regards to adapters is also true for legacy application here. Yeah, which brings me to the end of my presentation here. I just wanted to throw out here a slide with references. Just handpicked some references here in the if you want to know some more details about some of these references, let me know, and I can send you a detailed sheet about the specific use case or implementation here. And last but not least, I wanted to point you to a little survey where you can benchmark your digital fitness here, if you want, and compare yourself against 200 plus company. It's a Forrester survey. It takes about 15 minutes to complete, and I encourage you, or we encourage you to do that survey on digital.softwareag.com. Very easy to remember, and it gives you, an overview of your quote-unquote digital fitness and where you might lack or not. And then last but not least, I also want to point you to our microsite, specifically for government IT. So it's our domain, softwareag.com/digital-government. If you have a minute, check that out too. Very valuable, compact information to find there, and which brings me to opening it up for questions. Back to you, Will.
Alex, thank you very much. So a couple of questions to pose to you. The first is as follows. Our data interchange is largely flat file based. Can this be part of this platform, and if so, how?
Okay. Yeah, so I did not explicitly talk about that. It's probably the reason why the question came up. But part of our integration platform is also a managed file transfer tool, which essentially allows you to control, manage, secure, and restart, flat file transfers. So yes, if you want to evolve from the flat file based transfer, you can onboard that on our platform and run flat file transfers while you modernize your application and make it more real time. So yeah, absolutely. There's a piece in our digital business platform where you can manage your flat file transfers.
Okay, the next question we have, is your platform Java-based? We're a Microsoft shop, so that won't work for us, correct?
Yeah, so the answer is yes. The integration platform and most of the other pieces are Java-based, but let me go back to the adapter slide. We also have a Microsoft .NET adapter, which essentially allows you to integrate existing .NET applications or objects into the bus natively. So we essentially, it's a Java-based platform, but we run a .NET runtime on the side of that, and which allows you to integrate .NET objects into this platform. Yes. So you're not being usually a .NET shop doesn't rule you out from using our platform.
Okay. The next question that I have, yes, one more I've got. A lot of our core applications are still mainframe based. Would we be able to integrate these too?
Yeah, so I've almost at the very end, I was talking a little bit about mainframe, and yes, absolutely. So we have several ways to integrate the mainframe. I didn't talk about the details here, but we can integrate on the data level, which is easy if it's DB2, a relational database, but tricky if it's other mainframe formats like VSAM or IMS or our own database, which is not relational. But we have integration points here. We also integrate on the program level, so that works very well for our own 4GL programming language natural, but for all other mainframe programming language, starting with COBOL, PL1, or even assembler. So we have tools that generate code for you from that. And last but not least, there's always the screen approach to access on a session level. So a while ago we would call that screen scraping, but nowadays the analysts call that session integrations. But we have integration tools on all these three levels. And again, the answer is here, if you have mainframes, you can have your mainframe applications and data be part of a digital platform, absolutely.
Okay, Alex, thank you very much for your time and your presentation today. To everybody that is on the call, I'd like to just bring to your attention our next government webcast will be on November 17th. It's titled Portfolio Management and IT Transparency for Government. That will be November 17th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can register at softwareag.com/webinars. So with that, Alex, again, thank you for your time. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. Our program is over. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.